So today I will be presenting on the topic of strengths-based strategies to improve interpersonal relationship. Every month, Eden's counseling group has a focus on wellness speaker series. So I am happy to talk about positive psychology, and just wanted to let you know that for the January series, that will occur on January 7th. And the topic will be tools to strengthen parent-child relationships. And it will be facilitated by Sarah Agarwal. So just a little bit about myself. I work with individuals and couples. I also do mediation. I am one of 24 therapists at Edit's Counseling Group. And every day I feel very grateful to be able to do what I do, because how often is it that you just get to sit and have people who come in who are just so open, brave, and vulnerable, just share everything about their lives. And I have the opportunity to sit and just to help my clients to facilitate the process and work with them on their journey. So I'm happy that I am having the opportunity to sit here and to spend some time with you all. So to start, I would like for us to be able to just have a little meditation, and just to start the evening with looking at this baby who is so cute and who has this great smile that you can't help but just want to smile when you look at the baby. And also a quote. This is a calligraphy done by Master Thich Nhat Hanh, and it says, "Peace begins with your lovely smile." So essentially, our meditation will be a smiling meditation. So if you could just close your eyes, or just lower your gaze, or keep your eyes open, it's entirely up to you. And just breathe. Breathe in deeply and breathe out. Are you all able to see my screen?
I don't see it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me make sure that I share my screen again. Okay, are y'all able to see my screen now?
I can, yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the baby that I reference, and I am not too good with Zoom. So if there's anything that's not working, please let me know. Thank you. So this is the baby. Just look at the face. I hope that this baby makes you smile. So again, if you could close your eyes or lower your gaze, or open your eyes and look at the baby and just breathe. Breathe in deeply and then breathe out and just smile. The fact that we're here together, that we're breathing. Breathe in peace. Breathe out anxiety. Breathe in happiness. Breathe out sadness. Breathe in hope. Breathe out despair. Just breathe. Notice your breath. And if your mind starts to wander, it's okay. Just go back to your breath and just breathe and smile. Just breathe a few more times. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes. So today we'll start with what's positive psychology, and then I will go into the character strengths, and then I'll share with you some of the exercises, and some of them I do, some of them I share with my clients, and then some of them are new exercises. And then after that, I'll be sharing resources, and then we'll have Q&A. And for the Q&A portion, I'll try my best to answer as best as I could. And if I don't have an answer, I'll be sure to find them and send them to you afterwards. And then at the end, we will be sending out a feedback form. I hope that you'll take a little fill it out so that I can hear from you and to see how I can improve. So, positive psychology. If you hear positive psychology, what comes to mind? So, according to the experts from University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Center, it's the scientific study of strengths that enable individuals and communities to thrive. And then they further define it that it's a field that is founded on the belief that people want to lead meaningful and fulfilling lives, to cultivate what is best within themselves, and to enhance their experiences of love, work, and play. And then I found this quote by Abraham Maslow, and I think it's just so fitting with what we are talking about. Because when we talk about positive psychology and our strengths and cultivating what's best internally within us, and parlaying our inner strengths and putting it in action, is that we have a lot of goodness in us, and it's also about congruence too. So what he says is, if you plan on being anything less than you are capable of being, then you will probably be unhappy all the days of your life. So essentially, I hope that this talk will provide briefly and allowing you to see more of the strengths that are inside you. And I am sure that you're already utilizing your strengths. At the same time, I hope that this might help enhance those strengths so that you can bring more of who you are, and be who you truly are, and be happy for all of your days, all of our days. So character strengths, the Virtue Institute in Action, they worked for a long time, and they did an analysis of character in the past 2,500 plus years in so many different disciplines, including philosophy, ethics, moral education, psychology, and theology. And they found that there are 6 virtues that are universal across all cultures, religions, and beliefs. And from the 6 virtues, uh, there are 24 character strengths, and they are pathways to these virtues. And Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, says that these character strengths are the mansions of a well-lived life. So I will go over the 6 virtues and the 24 character strengths. So the 6 virtues are wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. So under wisdom, the first virtue is creativity, and it's a sense of originality, adaptiveness, ingenuity. It makes me think of the creators, the folks in the artistic fields. With curiosity, there's interest, novelty seeking, exploration, openness. And when I think about curiosity, I really think about little kids. They're just so curious about everything. Then there's judgment, and that's critical thinking, thinking things through, and open-mindedness. And then there's love of learning, and that's one of my character strengths. Is mastering new skills and topics, is systematically adding to knowledge. And as I see all of you, I am thinking this is the embodiment of love of learning. And then there's perspective, that's wisdom, providing wise counsel, taking in the big picture. When I think about perspective, I think of someone who people come to and asking for counsel, and they would share their wisdom. So the next virtue is courage, and under that is bravery, and that's valor, not shrinking from fear and speaking up for what's right. Then there's perseverance, and that's persistence, industry, and finishing what one starts. Then there's honesty, and that includes authenticity and integrity, and just speaking up for what you think is right. And then lastly, under courage, that's zest. And in zest, there's vitality, enthusiasm, vigor, energy, and just feeling alive. The third virtue is humanity, and the first thing is love. That's both loving and being loved. And I see a lot of that when I work with couples. Doesn't matter if they come in for premarital counseling or if they are struggling with an issue. I see commitment, I see love, that they both have for each other. And it's just a warm space to be in. Then there's also valuing close relations with others. So that falls under love. Then there's kindness, that includes generosity, nurturance, care and compassion, altruism, niceness. And when I think of kindness, I think about a quote from the Dalai Lama who says, kindness is my religion. And then lastly is social intelligence, and that's EQ, that's awareness of motives and feelings of yourself and others, and knowing what makes other people tick. Under the virtue of justice, there's teamwork, and that includes citizenship, social responsibility, and loyalty. Then there's fairness. Um, is being just and not letting feelings bias your decisions. And then there's leadership, and that could include organizing group activities or encouraging a group to get things done. And then the next virtue is temperance, and that includes forgiveness. And forgiveness is a very, very hard thing to do, in my opinion. And I think there's such an art, and it does serve us well when we have the capacity and the ability to do that. So, under forgiveness, that includes mercy, accepting others' shortcomings, giving people a second chance. And then there's humility, and that's modesty and letting one's accomplishments speak for themselves. Then there's prudence, and that's being careful, being cautious, and not taking undue risks. And lastly, there's self regulation, and that's having self control, being disciplined, and having the ability to manage our impulses and emotions. And I think that this character strength is very important, especially when we're living with so much uncertainty with COVID. Having the ability to self regulate, to manage anxieties and things like that is very, very important. And the last virtue is transcendence. And the first item is appreciation of beauty and excellence. And that's just having awe and wonder and elevation, and just appreciating nature and just appreciating everything that's around us. And then there's gratitude. That's being thankful for our life, what we have, expressing our things, and then just feeling blessed, counting our blessing. And then there's hope. Under hope, there's optimism, future mindedness, future orientation. Again, I feel that in this time, having hope is just so important. It is mandatory. And then there's humor. That's playfulness, bringing smiles to others and being lighthearted. Humor, I think, is just so important, especially with couples. It's such a great way to make repair attempts. Uh, it usually works. And then lastly, spirituality. It's just having faith, purpose, a sense of meaning, religiousness. So those are the 24 character strengths. So with character strengths, there's being and then there's doing. Uh, with the strengths, they are our identity and understanding who we are and allowing us to be ourselves. That's the being part. The doing part is having the ability to use our strengths to express ourselves, to take action, to do good. Is showing our values in action. So the benefits of using character strengths is called PERMA, and it stands for just having positive emotions or increasing our positive emotions, having more engagement in life, in work, creating more positive relationships, having meaning in life, meaning for what we do, meaning for the world in the sense of what is going on between us and around us. And then lastly, a sense of accomplishment, doing what we do, having the perseverance to carry on and do what we set out to do, and just celebrating our successes and the successes of the people in our lives. So when it comes to practice, in the autobiography of Ben Franklin, what he does is he worked on improving one virtue per week. That allows him, with the time and the practice, to be able to do something well and then carry on doing something. So, in practicing and doing something frequently, it would help us to create a habit. And one of the tips for habit creation is having a cue. And then with the cue, then we start doing something, and that's the routine. And then after doing something, then we reward ourselves for a job well done, which would motivate us to want to do the thing again. So, with character strengths, how do we find our strengths? I wonder, what do you identify with as you heard what I said and reflect on yourself and your own experience? What resonated? What strengths resonated with you? And then another way is also to look for strengths behaviors. I'm going to share with you some of the examples of little strengths use, just to show what little things that we do or others do that embody a strength. So for creativity, it's thinking up a new story to tell your child. For curiosity, it's asking a neighbor some questions about their life. With judgment and critical thinking, it could be reading two very different columns to get points of view. With love of learning, it could be reading 3 online articles about the same topic. With perspective, it could be offering a one-liner of advice to a clerk who is having a bad day. With bravery, it could be driving downtown when you're afraid of heavy traffic. With perseverance, it could be deciding to respond to 10 emails in a row to complete that task. With honesty, it could be admitting a mistake. With zest, it could be taking a minute walk on a cold day. With love, it could be just listening to a colleague who's having a rough day. With kindness, it could be holding an elevator for someone. With social intelligence, it's asking a family member how they are feeling when they show distressed facial expression. With teamwork, we can ask a team member for feedback. With fairness, when giving candy out to children in the neighborhood, make sure every child gets the same quantity. With leadership, it could be organizing a gathering of friends for lunch. With forgiveness, it could be letting go of tension created when someone cuts you off in traffic. That does happen a lot. With humility, is holding off on sharing positive news so the other person can actually share their own story. With prudence, it could be planning a quick breakfast for two. With self-regulation, is brushing and flossing one's teeth in the morning or in the evening. Um, with appreciation of beauty and excellence, is marveling at the skill and grace of uh, an Olympic downhill skier. With gratitude, is offering a personal thanks to the universe that we get to wake up in the morning. With hope, is feeling optimistic about an upcoming work meeting. With humor, is smiling to a stranger on public transportation or on the street, although it is hard right now with our masks, so maybe giving them a nod. And then with spirituality, is feeling a sense of meaning during a mindfulness practice. So these are the exercises from this book. It's a Character Strengths Intervention by Ryan Nemick. And then lastly, another way is to take the VIA survey. Let me try to pop it up right here for you to see. This is found on the VIA Character Institute on Character website, and it's a free survey, and about 5 million people have taken this survey already. So there's a survey for adults, and then there's a survey for youth, ages 10 to 17. There'll be questions for us to take, and then once you enter your information and you fill out the survey, then you'll get the results back. So this is the link, and they have a lot of great resources on this page. So this is my favorite part with the exercises. So one of the exercises that I find incredibly helpful to boost our level of happiness, because I have to confess that as I was doing this consecutively, I do feel better and happier. And also it allows us the opportunity just to sit and revisit our day, and just to see what has the good that has happened to us, and an opportunity to feel the zest or the joy or the appreciation again. So it's almost like doubling the effect of the goodness. And the grateful journal is just simply getting a journal or a notebook, and in the evening write down 3 things that you're grateful for in the day. And then what's the feeling that's associated with it. So it could very well be, I woke up this morning and I saw the sun shining through the window, and it makes me happy and feeling refreshed and ready for the day. Another thing with grateful journal for children is the magic rock exercise. And I think I read it somewhere where there was a man whose child was sick, and he picked up a magic rock and he started making wishes, and his child got treatment and was well. So then he started selling these rocks to people. What I do is I give the rocks to my nieces and nephew, and it's just so wonderful to see my little niece in the evening holding a rock and literally talking about the things that she's grateful for in the day. And it's just amazing what kids come up with. And at the end of telling everyone who's there what she's grateful for, she ends with thank you, thank you, thank you. And literally for me, that is such a joy to be able to sit there and see her recounting her blessings and being grateful. The next exercise is meaning making. And this can be a bit morbid because essentially we actually pretend that we're on our deathbed. If we're on our deathbed and we think about our life, we reflect on our life, what we're going to write is, I wish I would have spent more time on whatever it is that we're thinking of. And as you write the sentence, reflect on your strengths. What are your character strengths that would help you to accomplish the thing that you have written? So that's the meaning making piece. And then the following are some of the positive relationships exercises that enhance our interpersonal relationships. And I would like to start first with the 4 mantras. And this is a video by the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. So I am going to switch view here and share with you this video on the 4 mantras.
I like to talk about the mantras that you just mentioned. The first mantra is, darling, I'm here for you. When you love someone, the best thing you can offer him or her is your presence. How can you love if you are not there?
It's a lovely mantra. Darling, I'm here for you.
And you look into his eyes and you say, darling, you know something? I'm here for you. You offer him or her your presence. And your true presence, you are not preoccupied with the past or the future, your project. You are for your beloved one. The second mantra is, darling, I know you are there. And I am so happy. Because you are truly there, you recognize the presence of your beloved one as something very precious. And you use your mindfulness to recognize that, embrace your beloved one with mindfulness, and she will bloom like a flower. To be loved means to be recognized as existing. And these 2 mantras can bring happiness right away. Even if your beloved one is not there, you can use your telephone and practice the mantra.
Darling, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And darling, I know you're there.
The third mantra is what you practice when your beloved one suffers. Darling, I know you suffer. That is why I'm here for you. Before you do something to help her, to help him, your presence already can bring some relief.
And the acknowledgement
of
the suffering, of the hurting. Yes.
And the fourth mantra is a little bit more difficult. And that is when you suffer. And you believe that your suffering has been caused by your beloved one. So you suffer so deeply. And you prefer to go to your room and close the door and suffer alone.
Yes.
You get hurt. And you want to punish him or her for having made you suffer.
Yes.
And the mantra is to overcome that. The mantra is, darling, I suffer. I'm try my best to practice. Please help me. You go to him, you go to her and practice that. And if you can bring yourself to say that mantra, you suffer less right away.
And that was the 4 mantras. And I really, really love this clip. I do watch it a lot and I do share it with my clients. With the first mantra, I think that's showing love. That's the strength of love. With the second mantra, in letting your partner know that they're there and you're appreciating them, that's showing gratitude. The third mantra is just love and kindness. And the fourth mantra to me, I see honesty, self-regulation, perspective, and bravery too. It's hard to let someone know that you're sad, and especially when it's them who make you sad. So I hope that you would be able to use one of the mantras and just practice it on someone. The second exercise is perspective taking. And this is the strength of perspective, and usually is for whenever we're engaged in a fight. So if we're taking in the perspective of a neutral third party who wants the best for all, how would they view the conflict? So we can just view the conflict that we've had with someone from their perspective and write it down and share it with our partner and see which strengths can we use to undergo or to use whenever we have a conflict for the next time. Or another way is with John Gottman, and essentially it's is to process a regrettable incident. So essentially just talking about what happened and what ticked us off, what set us off, what was our contribution to the fight, and taking responsibility. And then telling our partner what could be the one thing that we could do better the next time. And then asking them, requesting them to do one thing differently so that the regrettable incident will not happen again. So that's perspective taking. And then the next exercise is mindful listening and speaking. And I feel that there's a lot of therapists and relationship experts utilizing this method a lot. And it's literally stretching the time in the conversation. What we do usually is we speak and then the next person speak back and forth because it is a dialogue. So essentially we're stretching the time. One person would be the speaker and the other person would be the listener. And when the speaker speaks, the listener will listen and pay attention to what the speaker is saying, really being curious to hear what they're saying instead of trying to come up with a response. Just hear him or her out. And then it allows the speaker the space to share, and it also allows us the time to give ourselves the space too, and to notice what we're feeling. And then after the speaker speaks, we can try to understand better. We can reflect what they said, summarize it, ask them if that's what they say, if we get it right. And then if we can, validate part or everything that they said. If we were to put ourselves in their shoes, does it make sense? Can we understand what they're saying? We don't have to agree, we just get to validate them and their experience. I think there's no better gift to give to our partner than actually giving him or her the chance to feel heard and understood, and having his or her feelings being validated. I think that alone allows the speaker the chance and the opportunity to be calmer and then switch roles. Then the listener becomes the speaker. So that's mindful listening and speaking. The next exercise is ritual of appreciation. And this is something that I ask my clients to do a lot too. I would love to show you another video, and it's being done by these two incredible experts. It's Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt. They write a lot of relationship books, and they demonstrate this great ritual of appreciation. It is a bit long, but I think it's really, really clear. And they're also demonstrating imago dialogue. That's part of what I mentioned earlier, the mindful speaking and listening, literally just being really curious and hearing what your partner has to say.
Of an appreciation looks like as a conversation. And this is what Helen and I are going to do. So now we've decided that we're just going to do a one-way because of the constraints on time here. And the one-way will be that Helen is going to send me some information and I'm going to respond on the receiver side. She'll be the sender and I'm going to be the receiver.
And we're teaching you the technology by expressing an appreciation. But this is the technology you can use when you have a frustration with someone.
No.
And you can, then it'll make any conversation go better. So,
yeah, and one other thing is we think of it as a vehicle, like a truck. It's like, think of it as a truck. And this is the way the truck works. You can put any cargo on the truck and it'll go to any market. If the truck doesn't work, you can't get the cargo to market. So this is the truck.
And you've got the sentence stems in your seat, so you'll be using this.
Yeah, you've got them. If you want to turn in your handout, you can see mirroring and appreciation is the title of the exercise.
And it's up on a slide also. So Harville, is this a good time when I could give you an appreciation?
Yes, now's a good time. Thank you.
Well, when we practiced this in the taxi coming over, what popped out in my mind was your tie. I just loved that you wore that tie this morning. I haven't seen it for years. And I just really thought that was a cool tie to wear.
So if I'm getting this, the appreciation you have is the tie I'm wearing, that you looked at it and you hadn't seen it in years and you're really appreciating the tie. Did I get that?
Yes.
I got that. So is there more about it?
Well, that tie just in the taxi, it just made me feel exuberant and joyful when I saw it.
So the tie made you feel exuberant and joyful. Am I getting that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there more about that? About the feeling?
Well, when I feel that way, it did remind me of my Uncle Jimmy, because Uncle Jimmy, my favorite uncle, would always wear shirts that were real lively and sort of had like little critters from the farm on them. He lived in Idabel, Oklahoma, and it was like fun trees and flowers, and so it sort of warmed my heart to see that.
So when you had that feeling, it reminded you of Uncle Jimmy on the farm, who had all these critters and who was fun to be with and around. So it reminded you of a very warm experience and very pleasant experience. Am I getting that? Did I get it? Did I get all of that? So is there more about that?
Well, yeah, and Uncle Jimmy would play with us when we'd go visit.
Okay.
But my father, it was a real contrast to my father, who always wore the business suit and never played with me or any of the kids.
So it reminded you that of your father, who sounds very different. He didn't play with you. He wore business suits, more severe clothing, and didn't play and you don't have those warm memories with him. Am I getting that?
Right.
Yeah. So is there more about that? No. So let me see if I've got one. If I can summarize it, you want to give me an appreciation, and appreciation is which you noticed this morning. And when you saw my tie, you had a strong feeling of exuberance and joy. And when you had that feeling, it triggered a memory of your Uncle Jimmy, with who had colorful clothes and had all these animals and lived on a farm. You know, really warm memories of him. And you don't have those memories of your father, who didn't play and wore more severe clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get all of that? Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. And we also make some.
And that was an appreciation exercise. This is longer and more details than what we usually do. I'm so glad though that it is almost 2 exercises in one. It's mindful listening and ritual of appreciation. And the one thing that I remind my clients is, as the person who is being appreciated, just take it in and know that what you do matter. The act or the word or the item of clothing that you wear warms the heart of your beloved and make him feel loved. And it's a wonderful thing. And maybe you can just do more of that. The next one is compliment review. And it's helping, it helps boost the strength of appreciation. And at the same time, it's very useful for those who have low confidence or low self-esteem, because oftentimes it's hard to hear someone thanking us or appreciating us because we don't see that in ourselves. So essentially, as your partner compliments you on something, just sit down and write, what is it that my partner is admiring about me? And see, what strengths did I use in the action that my partner is admiring? And in doing this, it will help improve the relationship and boost our self-confidence, because we get to see that it's a strength that we have inside of us. It's the strength that we employ, and it actually helps make our partner feel loved or appreciated or valued. The next one is offering a sincere apology. I will turn to the next slide because this provides 9 essential ingredients of a true apology. It's really great. This is from a podcast between Brene Brown and the author of the book, Why Won't You Apologize, Harriet Lerner. And some of the essential ingredients of a true apology, including just apologizing for your action. Do not include the but, because the word but almost invalidates, cancels out what's being said earlier. And then also in the apology, offer reparation or restitution that fits the situation. And this could essentially be if you spill wine on a white dress, a really beautiful white dress, then you could offer to get the dress clean or get another dress or something like that. Do not overdo it, and don't get caught up on who's more to blame or who started it. And number 9 is, do not ask the hurt party to do anything, not even to forgive you. Essentially, apologizing, believe it or not, at least for us, it would make us feel better to, and it is an act of bravery to own up on something that we do. Oftentimes it's for it because the person that we're offering the apology to is equally at fault or it's more at fault. And naturally we're thinking they should apologize. But one of the ingredients too is don't get caught up and do not expect them to do anything. That's forgiving and apologizing back. So the apology is for us, and just do it with sincerity when we really want to do it. And the last exercise is writing a love letter. And the love letter is sometimes it's hard to say things, or sometimes it's just so much that we just want to sit down and write something. And this day and age, we're just so quick. We're emailing, we're texting. It would be nice just to sit and using a pen or pencil or something and write on a piece of paper to let your partner know what you appreciate them or what you love about them. And then sending that letter, whether giving it to them or mailing it, is really, really nice to receive a letter. And then we could also use the love letter to write to someone that we have conflict with. Sometimes it is hard to articulate our feelings, and having the time to sit down and reflect and write, that could be helpful. And it could promote peace and understanding as well. So all in all, what I can say is, with all love stories, and they lived happily ever after. Now, the better part is, because it is your love story, you get to write everything to it. So that concludes my presentation. Here are some of the resources that I'd like to share with you all, and we'll be sending out this PowerPoint presentation for you. I hope that it will be helpful. So the Positive Psychology Center, the father of psychology, Martin Seligman, is teaching. There's a lot of great resources there. And then the VIA Institute on Character, which has the 24 character strengths that I went over. You can take the survey on there. And then also under survey, you'll also see the 5 love languages. I share this with some of my clients, and actually a lot of my clients know about this already. I think that it's such a great tool. It's almost like, this is the biggest clue. If you know what your partner's love language is, use it. Speak, use their love language, because that allows them, if you speak their language, then they'll feel utterly loved. Because if you love them a lot, but you speak your own language and it's not their language, they won't know it. And then there's an article, Happy Together. Suzanne Pilecki uses positive psychology in relationship work, is really wonderful. And then the full podcast on I'm Sorry. And then these are some of the video clips for your viewing pleasure. I'd shown you Thích Nhất Hạnh 4 mantra, and then under long clips, Getting the Love You Want. The ritual appreciation was a small part of it. And then some other TED Talks and YouTubes that I find incredibly helpful. And then books. I love books, and it's nice when my clients ask for book recommendation. And these are some of the books that I think speak well on the topic of positive psychology, and that could be very helpful. I also included Self-Compassion, because oftentimes we're really, really tough on ourselves, and in embodying our strengths and doing good. Expressing our love and our kindness and doing good for others and contributing to society, we often neglect ourselves, and I think it's important to focus on us as well, and giving ourselves the self-compassion and the self-love. And then there's also books for relationships. And then there's this book that is not often known, to the top right-hand corner, The Intentional Family. The writer William Doherty speaks about the rituals that family or couples can have. It's just really, really wonderful. Some of my clients have date nights that are just really, really sacred. And that is a ritual. Or there's some people who have relationship check-ins, and that's something that they do, or just having a one-on-one on a regular basis with their child. That's something that everyone can look forward to, and just providing the sacred time and the sacred space for your loved one is a wonderful thing to do. And then there's a book for to raise optimistic children too. So that's a great book. And then there are 3 workshops for couples that I think are just so amazing. To help strengthen relationships. Some of them are offered online, some of them are offered in person. I don't think the in-person sessions are happening anytime soon, but that's something to look into. So one is Hold Me Tight by Sue Johnson's, and then the Imago workshops, and then the Art and Science of Love by John and Julie Gottman, who created the Love Lab in Seattle. So I will stop sharing. And I now will the chat. Yeah, so if you have any questions, or if you want to share, please, love to hear from you. For sharing, I'd love to hear, what is your favorite signature strength? And in being and doing, what are some of the strengths in action? And what's a favorite exercise that you do with either a friend or a family member or a child? And I see in the chat box it says, can you show viewing resources one more time? It's okay. I will be sending this PowerPoint presentation to you. So you will be having the resources in your hands. And then we would love to hear your thoughts on this presentation. Marcus has sent the link in the chat box, if you can fill it out and provide feedback, so that we can bring more relevant webinars in the new year. That would be great. And also to let us know what your thoughts are about this webinar. So if there is no questions, then I will just share the screen with my contact information. If you have any question outside of this, I'd love to hear from you. And of course, I can't thank you enough for giving me 1 hour of your time to allow me to share my space, to share information about the character strengths, and to share the exercises with you. You have been so utterly wonderful in being present. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. And here is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. I would love to hear from you. So that is all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and have a great weekend. Bye.